I always like to get the story behind the glory.
Sure.
So many times you guys hear all the amazing music, but you never get to meet the musicians.
Justin Savage is a household name in gospel production and gospel music.
Do you work with Israel Houghton, Donnie McClurkin, Ms. MD?
You're just saying it like it's no big deal.
I mean, hey, to some it may be, to some it may not be. So
this has to be around 97. There was a concert or some kind of gathering at Faith Baptist. At that event, it was one Kenneth Shelton. They were working with a guy named Jonathan Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody decided that I needed to be a part. The original Jonathan Nelson record, the first one, I'm on keys. Again, I'm clueless, Play the music.
Yeah.
Play it effectively and play it with integrity. I get on my plane to come back home. I wound up sitting in first class with who? Israel Houghton and Aaron Lindsey. High school was over in 2001. I actually talked to my godmother and she says, if you go, you'll be dead in a year. Many may know that Bishop Jakes preaches what's called the Joint Revival. That was the first night at Jericho City of Praise in Landover, Maryland. That was the first time we did Worth live.
Wow.
Had yet to be recorded.
And recorded it, just sung it.
And John Mike, I don't even say this because I've been a part of it. The response that night, it was.
So there's something very specific I noticed about people that watch this channel. And it's the fact that over 60% of you that hang out with us aren't actually subscribed to this channel. So if you could do it, listen, come here, a little closer. If you could do me a quick favor and we'll get on with the show, I'll leave you alone. Give me 2 seconds of your time to just tap the subscribe button and the like button. 1, 2. That's all it took. I appreciate you. Let's get on with the show. What up with you guys? You know who it is. It's your boy, John Mike, back again with the Hangout Podcast. Still down here in Dallas, Texas on my run down here. And I am pleasured to hang out today with none other than the Right Reverend, the Bishop-elect, the mayor of Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
Justin Savage, Mr. J Sav, man. What's good? Welcome to the Hangout, man.
Thank you for having me. I am neither Right Reverend, Bishop-elect, or indeed not the mayor of Dallas.
Oh man, they talk
proud current citizen of Dallas, Texas.
Man, everybody when I was coming out here, they was like, man, you need to get with Justin. I talked to Roy. Roy was like, because I tried to get Roy to be on the show this week. He's out on vacation this week, and he was like, I was like, yo, man, you in town? He's like, nope, but Justin is.
Yeah.
And I talked to another one of my homies. He's like, no, Terry. When I was talking to Terry, he's like, man, get with Justin while y'all. So you the mayor, Doc. They reference you on every conversation.
I'm humble. Those are two of my favorite humans in the world.
Yes, sir, man.
Terry Baker.
Man, this is dope, man. I'm glad to finally connect with you.
Likewise.
And really highlight. That's what the Hangout is about. Like hanging out and highlighting and honoring people in our industry that's done amazing work. I know you've done so much stuff from Anthony Brown, group therapy, of course. We're going to get into that, talk about your so many different things. I mean, y'all just recently celebrated going platinum on it. One of the songs from their Worth, wasn't it?
Yep. Platinum last year. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Stuff, platinum Rex. I'm here with a platinum producer, in gospel.
That's humbling even to hear it said out loud is crazy to me.
Yeah. So you're doing all of this crazy work and stuff with all these amazing artists and stuff like that, and then doing the duty over at the Potter's House.
The Potter's House, 6777 West Keys Boulevard,
Gosh,
Texas.
Man.
Yes.
Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Bishop T.D. Jakes and our newly installed pastors,
Yeah.
Torrey and Sarah Jakes Roberts.
Wow. Yeah. I got to get into what that transition looks like. That's cool.
It's a beautiful thing to witness.
It is. It has been. I've been watching from afar, just seeing how all it's handing the passing of the torch. You kind of saw it happening in real time years ago.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see it culminating to what it is. It's kind of like I said, a beautiful thing, a dynasty almost that they're locking in with, man.
Absolutely.
So, man, but it's not about, what I think. It's about you as the guest, man. So I always like to I say this every podcast, I like to get the story behind the glory.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because like we see people here, we
Mhm.
meet people here.
Mhm.
You know, you see people like, yeah, it's Justin Savage, man. You got, this guy
Man.
way up here to people, right?
Okay.
But there's a journey and there's a story that got you in those doors to being a platinum producer, to meeting
Absolutely.
Anthony Brown, to being at the Potter's House, to
Absolutely.
moving here to Dallas, to
Absolutely. Yeah.
all of the things that you've been able to accomplish in your
Mhm.
career. So, man, what is that story? What does that journey look like, man? How do you get your start in music?
Sure.
How do you get that kind of moving?
How much time do we have? Because
according to the director, he said we got about an hour left on the tape.
Okay,
No,
so I'll try not to take the full hour.
No,
with
man,
this.
no. Tell us that journey, man. How does that
But
come
man,
about?
it begins, John. It begins with the statement that everything about my journey is a product of God's grace. That's the onset.
Absolutely.
And what's important to note, like right at the front, is that I had zero intentions for any of this. It would shock most to know that, when I was a kid, and even when I was a, later teenager, like I was graduating from high school, I was signing up, I was going to the Navy.
Really? In the Navy?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like, I mean, full on, signed up. I was going to be a cryptologic technical operator. Supposed to leave for basic training in August of 2001. Wow. That's the real truth of the story. So
you was not planning to get into music?
I mean, I was into music. That's the thing. I started playing piano when I was 3. Okay. Had my first lesson probably when I was around 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is I came up in a very, again, might be hard to believe, I came up in a very, very traditional, almost staunch Baptist church in Baltimore.
Like, wow, Baltimore, wow.
I mean, I'm talking about, like we didn't have drums. We didn't have a bass player. All of those things were considered like worldly and unnecessary in our church.
Yeah.
So, I started up being, playing hymns and, classical. I went to school, a private program in Baltimore, the Baltimore School for the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A little disclaimer. I didn't get into the actual high school.
Really?
The year I auditioned was just a very, very crowded and, expert level piano auditions. It was full of them.
Almost like Juilliard or something.
Exactly,
like that.
yeah. So I went to their, what was called the Twigs program, which was a kind of private thing with a lot of their,
I think I've heard of that. Yeah, I remember
teachers and professors. So I had private lessons with a guy named Alan Good, who is to this day one of my biggest influences.
Wow.
And one of my sharpest tools in my life. Like, he helped me develop my piano skills in a way that I just can't even describe. So playing piano was definitely a part of my life. I played at my local church at Faith Baptist while I was a child. When I hit the age probably of 12, I want to say, there was a preacher that I met through Faith Baptist activities in the United Missionary Baptist Convention of Maryland. And he had a need at his church, which was a starting, ministry in the Baptist world. And he asked me, well, let me be clear. He asked my mother if I could come in and help him. And that's where I kind of started, for lack of a better word, getting paid to be a musician. I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And again, stop me whenever this gets too long, because it's pretty long. So at 12, I'm playing in New Revelation Missionary Baptist Church in the east side of Baltimore. Just continuing to grow in the convention. I meet certain people.
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit, there was a concert or some kind of gathering at Faith Baptist that involved an invitation from a group called the Heaven 600 Choir, right?
Okay.
So you can look it up. It's a group. It's a radio station in Baltimore. That was our gospel station, Heaven 600.
Heaven 600.
Yep. And this was like the community choir that represented the station, and they came and did an event at Faith Baptist. And then at that event, I met the leader, which is Will Lynch, still around to this day. And ironically, his musician was one Kenneth Shelton.
See, that's somebody else I got to get on the show.
Absolutely.
Is the guy.
Batman and Robin. That's my brother, man. So we met, I'm 13, 14, met Kenny. They were gearing up to do something. This has to be around 97. Heaven 600 was doing a recording, some kind of event with CeCe Winans, as a matter of
Wow.
fact, at New Psalmist, did a recording. Through that, I met a guy named Eric Scott, who is a living legend songwriter in Baltimore, Maryland. Through Eric, I got a job offer to work at the Bethel AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland. The lineage includes...
You was just church hopping. No, I'm just joking.
I was a church boy. I'm still a church boy. That's who I am.
Wow.
The lineage of those pastors include, like Bishop John Bryant. Frank Reed. So that's the church I started playing at, and this had to be 99, something like that. And this is where I was introduced with the Heaven 600 and the Bethel combination to Adam Johnson on bass, which is still my favorite bass player in the world.
He's here in Dallas.
He's here in Dallas as well.
Wow.
I had a little hand in that, I'd like to think. But yeah, and then at Bethel AME, Adam and I were hired simultaneously along with Mike Reed.
Wow.
Drummer for everybody.
Everybody.
He's out now with Justin Timberlake, one of my best friends in the world.
So y'all was like the Young Avengers.
Yeah, we were kids, bro.
Sheesh.
I started working at Bethel AME before I turned 18. Wow. And this is like the formative years of what I guess God had in mind for this, because I had always served a local church. It was at Bethel that, the standard was kind of raised. Like playing with the band, because in the Baptist world, No,
I grew up Baptist.
You show up, you ain't have no band rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? Not in the way we grew up. These are the songs, and you don't know who's leading. You know what I'm saying? You just play.
You just play.
So getting that kind of structure and learning language, that happened at Bethel AME. Good shout out to Elder Jeff Jacobs, another songwriter and gospel legend. He was in ministry music at the time. Eric was the music director. We were the band. And in the years that we played there, I am fairly certain we never had a band rehearsal.
Really?
Which kind of contradicts my whole point.
Yeah, the boy used to be.
It was a standard that
lied.
Eric brought to how to play. Again, we're young guys. I'm the youngest when it comes to this kind of setting. But yeah, he just gave us such a discipline. And it was really at that church where we got the language. Like the Baltimore crew that we became, like it really started at Bethel AME with me, Adam, and Mike, with Eric.
That's amazing, man.
I'm getting there.
But that's good. This is good. I love it.
Fast forward, Adam and I leave Bethel and wind up at the Church of Redeemer of the Lord, which is another ministry in Baltimore. Now, I'm Baptist. I go up in the AME. A lot of that translates the same. But now I'm introduced to this more charismatic Pentecostal movement. Shout out to Bishop Jerome Stokes, who is still the pastor there at 81, I believe. 81 years old. Looks amazing. And he's still working out, I think, every day.
Wow.
So the minister of music and consultant at this time at CRL, which they go by, is one Stephen Ford. Okay. A legend. One of my biggest influences from afar until this point. Because coming up, in that Baptist world, Richard Smallwood is sacred. You know what I'm saying? He's like the only acceptable, contemporary gospel music you can even bring inside of these church walls.
Oh yeah.
So I was very familiar with his work. Yeah, he was a man. So again, from Bethel, the standard went even higher because, now we're not just church musicians, or we're not seen just as church musicians, but he taught us about being Levitically aligned. And about the job and the role and the call of music ministry. And then the musicality just came up another level.
Wow.
So I guess the biggest jump from here to get into how I really got into the industry, it would have been 2002. No, wait, this is 2001.
You said you was going to the Navy.
Yep. So yeah, high school was over in 2001.
So I graduated in 01. So we graduated the same year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. See? So it was in this year that I actually talked to my my godmother, and she says, if you go in the Navy, you'll be dead in a year.
So was this pre 9/11 or post 9/11?
This is April of 2001.
Wow.
You got it?
Yeah.
So this was a prophetic word from my godmother, who
That's crazy.
just saw that this is going to end badly.
But she didn't even, just no framework. And
No.
then 6 months later, basically, or whatever, how many ever months later,
The whole world
falls
changed.
apart.
And I've got friends and classmates that went on that trajectory.
Yeah.
That were just like that, dead in 1 or 2 years, having gone to serve. And I, not to be spooky or anything, I just really know it was a part of God's plan for me to not do that. And I mean, you got to understand, my mother is furious that I have made this decision to, abort this, was a solid plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was going to come out and have a job. I'm in the Baltimore area, so you got government opportunities that just present themselves for anybody in the services. But I wouldn't have got to none of it. I wouldn't have made it because I would have been dead.
You would have been dead.
Because I mean, that time people were getting shipped out, over to Iraq and like Afghanistan. It would have been bad, right? So that decision happens somewhere along that line. Having met Kenny with the Heaven 600 and having worked with Adam, they were working with a guy named Jonathan Nelson. Jonathan Nelson was scheduled to record. I believe he was given up to record in June of 2002. And I guess Adam or somebody decided that I needed to be a part, right? Yeah. So in the early parts of 2002, I get involved with Jonathan. We rehearse from January, February of 2002 to record at the Church Redeemer of the Lord, where I'm serving, in June of that year. Y'all heard it. It's the original Jonathan Nelson record, the first one with, the first Healed, all of that.
Classic.
Book of Life.
Everything
You Are. Manifest, like the original, that recording. I'm on keys. I'm 20. Clueless, but following the standard of the people that I've been blessed to kind of, work around. So that recording happens. Ironically, there's a guy named, do you know Charles Harris? Sound engineer. I want to say Charles is actually from Charlotte.
Really?
Or Chicago. He's from Chicago originally. Okay. But anyway, Charles is the engineer that does that recording in that June. So this is our experience. When we released the record, I want to say that was probably the next year. I think maybe released in 2003.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we had a concert at a historic church, First Apostolic Church of the Apostolic Faith in Baltimore. Release concert for Jonathan. At this concert was...
This video is sponsored by CrowdTrack, the most innovative way to take a studio recording and make it sound like a live recording, or take a live recording and make it sound even more live. Check out this video real quick. Gospel. Take 10% off CrowdTrack by using the coupon code that is down in the description of this video. All right, back to the show.
Donald Lawrence. because Jonathan, he had connected over the year, or over his journey, so he was there, and he witnessed kind of that thing that we put together musically, and So fast forward, this had to be 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this had to be 2004. So winter, January, February 2004. I'm still serving at the Church Redeemer of the Lord.
Yep.
And someone, as many things did, like the church was always rented out as a venue for recording. Jonathan's recorded there. Jason's recorded there. I think Youthful Praise is recorded there. Concerts, that kind of thing. It's just a good room.
Yeah.
So someone had rented out the church to have a concert. On this ticket, this night, is Donald Lawrence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, this is February of 2004.
Okay.
Now, the problem is, February 2004, the weather in Baltimore is completely unpredictable. And add to it where a lot of his people were coming from, like I think St. Louis, unpredictable same way.
Yeah.
So long story short, Chris Morris, and the other name escapes me, so please forgive me. Chris Morris from Memphis was playing with Donald at the time. Him and the other keyboard player got stuck.
Dang.
They were going to make it in time for the concert, but we're going to miss sound check. I'm there.
Yeah.
Just around.
Just around.
Engineering for Donald at that time, and for everybody else for that matter, was Charles Harris, the guy who had recorded.
Yeah, back in Jonathan Nelson.
Okay. He says in this, kind of emergency situation, do you know Donald's music? And I'm saying, I had to kind of say it quietly. I was like, yeah. I mean, we sing his music like every week. Like, this is during the time of Never Seen the Righteous. This is
that's
like
the joint. Yeah.
This is a staple. You know what I'm saying?
These are anthems.
Yeah, these are anthems. So yeah, we know. I know it. He said, well, can you sit in for sound check? I'm scared to death, but I say, sure. What's I got to lose?
Wow.
Sound check happens, and at the end, like during sound check, and I hope Donald remembers this and would agree, but like during sound check, he's like, him and Marsha Burke, his manager, like they're both just looking at me funny, like, who is this kid? Because I'm playing it like Cedric Thompson and Danny Wiswell. They're two of my biggest musical influences. Kevin Barnes, like they're my influences. So I'm playing it verbatim because I've sat at home and played this stuff like for years. And I was looking like, what's happening? So after the sound check, him and Marsha literally come over and say, who are you, blah, blah, blah. Reminded him like, yeah, I'm Justin. I played on, Jonathan's version, blah, blah. Then that was that. So that's February. And he asked Marsha to get my information. In May of 2004, I did my first date with Donald Lawrence, playing keys. I was scared to death. Scared to death. But I've just always been one to just go with the door that God's open.
Exactly.
If this is again the war I'm kind of fighting in myself, because you got insecurities, you got I'm not made like this. I don't have no musical family. I didn't come up, doing all of that.
Yeah.
Like, my journey is a little weird. But I always thought that if you think I'm good enough to be here, then I gotta believe I'm good enough to be here. I started traveling with Donald Lawrence, doing Tri-City dates. And immediately I'm exposed to, again, another level. Now on drums is Calvin Napper.
Yeah, cool.
Mel Gray on bass. Reggie Graves on, guitar. Like I'm already, everything's changing. I'm getting exposed. And now I'm the young guy on these grown man gigs, as I will call them. Right? And I learned just a whole lot about, just playing the record, playing the songs, but playing them with integrity and intention. Donald recommended me to Richard Smallwood for something.
Wow.
And again, the alignment and the order steps of God are just they're incredible. So it's like at every point I had like 2 points of connection already. Yeah. So Donald recommends me Richard Smallwood. I imagine in some conversation he said, "Well, Stephen Ford, what do you know about this guy?" And I had been serving with Stephen Ford for all these years, so I started working with Richard Smallwood. Started doing dates with him and Vision, and again, I'm still not in this way of thinking about production.
Yeah.
At a certain point, somewhere around here, everybody will have to go back and remember the inbox. Do you remember?
I remember inbox, Pro Tools
first
inbox.
I bought it on a whim.
The blue and white joint.
The blue and white joint. Mostly because my friend Ethan, God rest his soul, he's like, you need to get into this. And he convinced me. He was working at, I think Mars or something at the time. Mars Music. So I went and bought me an inbox and got me a laptop. Didn't know what in the world I was doing. But everything I have learned has been through this trial and error. And, so at this point, I'm, Donald brings me in to do some session work. I'm doing studio stuff, with Danny Witherspoon and, Uncle Stephen Ford has me do a few records with him. All of those changed my life. Through that, I get to work with Jonathan Dubose and Jeff Davis and Mark Walker, you know what I'm saying? And then traveling with Richard Smallwood, who eventually I got to record with as well. This is craziness. So 2006, we're still traveling with Jonathan, because that's the home team. So we're still doing dates and stuff with Jonathan. And, during this time, I actually started traveling with Jonathan a lot more actually. And, just me and him. So he would go and do workshops, clinics, church Sunday morning, stuff like that, and just take a musician. So we had really developed this kind of, synergy and chemistry. So when he came around, it's time to record in 2006, he decided to give me a shot. Again, I haven't produced. Had I produced anything at this point? I think I had done maybe one. Yes, a lady named Charlene Nelson.
Okay.
Who is actually out of the DC, Maryland area.
No relation to Jonathan Nelson.
No. I think she's actually, if you remember the lady, Sharice Nelson McIntosh, I believe, from the Richard Smallwood and Vision. They're sisters. Got it. So I wound up producing something for her.
Yeah.
And truthfully, you hold it up against all of the stuff that we've done together over the years, it's actually very solid. It was a 4-piece, no stems.
Yeah.
Me, Adam, Mike, and Kenny.
Just going for it.
We wore that music out. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna hold you. It's somewhere out there in the clouds. Y'all should go find it. But, so I had started dibbling and dabbling and, just home doing stuff, learning stuff. This is before, YouTube and all that stuff had tutorials. This is just trial and error. This is just figuring it out. I've never been a techie, never been a gearhead guy. So it was really unnatural for me to get into these production spaces. But as God would have it, Jonathan decided, I want you to do it. So I took the helm of producing the Right Now Praise record, which includes, the My Name is Victory, Right Now Praise, Already Mine, Yes Out There, all of that.
Just,
right? Just,
Yeah.
And it was really my first time. Like,
wow.
If you count my Charlie Nelson experience,
it
was my first time seeing a record from beginning to the end. And in that process, I had been, by this time I'm playing with Donnie McClurkin, I'm playing with CeCe Winans,
Yes.
It's a very small world. So once you're in it, you're just in it.
Yeah.
And I say this in all humility and for the point of humility.
Yeah.
Justin's not responsible for any of this.
Oh,
I've never, auditioned. I've never, played the politics trying to get anything. Every door that God has opened for me, He has literally opened for me, and I've just walked through it. I can't explain it any other way than that. So from Donald to Richard, from Richard to Donnie, from Donnie to CeCe, from CeCe to Israel.
Sheesh.
I was little caveat, just because you interviewed Terry yesterday.
Yeah.
I met Terry and Sim Baker in Lexington, Kentucky, their hometown.
Yeah.
Because Jonathan went and did a workshop there. That's how I met Terry and Sim. And we became instant family, and through them I started recording with people like Joe Pace, right? So it's just these crazy orchestrations God had in mind. So I was actually leaving a session in Indianapolis with a guy named Daryl Harris in Indianapolis that Cemetery produced. I get on my plane to come back home, and because I had been moving around so much, you got little status with the airline. I wound up getting my little upgrade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting up in first class. I ain't boasting. I'm just telling you how this happened.
Yeah.
I wound up sitting in first class with who? Israel Houghton and Aaron Lindsey. Right? This is you can't explain this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And I know both of them from afar, but it's so much so that I wouldn't even have approached them.
Yeah.
But here comes Jesus. Look. So there's a lady, my friend Danielle McMillan, from somewhere she's from Ohio somewhere, maybe Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I had met Danielle through a mutual friend who was doing the Joe Pace records with us. So we had exchanged, we had some conversations. She's a nice lady. She introduces me to Aaron and Israel. A few months later, Buddy Strong, I guess, couldn't do a date. Aaron and Israel called me to fill in with New Breed. Then there goes there's a 10-year history with New Breed. I've recorded with New Breed. I've traveled the world with Israel. These are just things that have brought me on the journey. And
it's what I call there's a book series and a TV series movie I call a series of unfortunate events. It's real funny. It's a series and stuff, Netflix, all that stuff like that. I always like to play on words with different people that I've had conversations. I call it a series of fortunate events.
Absolutely.
That lead you from, of course, we know that fortune is not fortune, it's God. But just for phraseology, I see that's why I'm just letting you just kind of go through it, because it's like, you see the thread from all the way there. And if one thing, one macro ingredient in that journey changes,
everything, nothing
happens. Absolutely. If you decide to ignore what your godmother says and just go to the Navy anyway, you know what I'm saying?
We ain't even talking.
None of this stuff happens.
Exactly.
Even from going back to where you was talking about the, growing up Baptist, going from this church to that church, to this church to that church.
Yep.
Well, each one of those things prepared you at different levels for the space that you were moving into.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then you kept moving from literally faith to faith. From glory to glory.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I love it, man. This is such a beautiful story.
It's I'm finally at a place at 42 where I'm actually comfortable sharing it.
Wow.
It's something that I feel has been burning. Like it has to be told.
Yeah.
Not for me.
But
just so people can see that, God has a plan, and you don't really have to contribute to it anything but obedience. That's all you got to give it. And it'll work out for you. It's just like everything you mentioned. It's just these series of events, most of which are unexplainable until you insert the fact that God had a plan.
Yeah, because how do you explain that?
Exactly.
You just decided to upgrade your miles one day, and now you're next to Israel and Aaron.
And that's only because God has favored me to be traveling the world with Donnie and CeCe kind of simultaneously. Yeah. So it just happens naturally, How else? You got a planes that were delayed from St. Louis to go to a Don Lawrence concert.
That gets you in a sound check.
That gets me in a sound check, but then I'm on a plane that leaves on time. Hallelujah. But I'm behind Israel and Aaron. So it's just, and from that relationship, again, it just one thing leads to another.
So what do you attribute is and I mean, of course, we know God. That's first and foremost. So we got that as step one, part one. What's parts 2, 3, and wherever you go from there to what you feel is the posture of the attitude that is been the thread throughout your success. Because you walk very much in humility. Like, I know people that talk about humility, but I hear humility in your story. So what do you say are those two, the three things that you can tell the viewers, the people that are watching, that those up and coming, the young Justins,
absolutely, that
are like sitting in seats right now and thinking like, man, will I ever get here? What's the next thing? What's the whatever?
Man, I would say this. My grandmother, God rest her soul, Lorraine Utsi, used to always say, not just to me, but I think probably more emphatically to me than my other cousins. It's only 6 of us, but because I was the one that did the music thing.
Yeah.
She said, "Always be humble." Not
not
with the H.
humble.
Yeah, not humble. But she said,
That's old school.
Always stay humble.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that has always stuck with me. And it's almost, again, at 42, you look back at stuff and it just blows your mind.
Wow.
But it's something that people have always said to me. You're so humble.
Yeah.
And I've never even imagined it any other way. I don't know how else to show up.
Yeah.
Number one, because I didn't give this gift to myself.
Exactly.
And number two, everything that has resulted from it has to go back to the source of it. So I would say one of my biggest commitments, and one that I think has served me well, is that I have always, maybe for the exception of 1 or 2 years where travel made it impossible, I have always served the local church.
Wow. That's so good.
I have worked for or at or with a church since I was 12 years old, and I'm 42. And I'm not even, I'm not saying that to boast. And it's like I'm not bored. I'm not mad.
This is what you do.
I'm grateful for a little week off this week because we got conference, but next week we back to it because it's all I know to do. Wow. Everything else that I've done has usually been inside the context of the frame of my commitment to church.
Wow.
Even when I was traveling with Donnie, CeCe, and all them simultaneously, if I wasn't somewhere, I was at Empowerment Temple with Jonathan, just playing or singing. We were it's just what I do.
So humility and service.
Humility and service. I think the other thing is being, part of humility or part of the humility of having a gift of music is being humble enough to always study it and to practice and to shed and to put the time in.
Yeah.
So, it was somewhere during the journey. Again, I didn't set out to do this.
Yeah.
I was ready to go to the Navy. But once I realized that wasn't the plan of God for my life, I recommitted, in the days of my early childhood with private lessons and classical recitals and all of that stuff. I recommitted to making sure this was always sharp because it became clear to me that this was what God has for me.
Yeah. So
I would say humility, service, and commitment to your craft.
That's powerful, man. That is so.
I really don't have. I ain't got nothing else for you.
So in the journey, back to the scaling of the journey, because illustrious career already up to this point. You traveled and toured with all of these people, been on producing records at some of the best records that we've heard, in gospel.
I'm humbled by that.
How do you get what's the space that leads you to Potter's House, Dallas? How do you get from how does that journey get you from Baltimore, serving at Empowerment Temple, down to serving at the Potter's House under the real bishop, real bishop, Bishop T.D. How does that unfold?
So to trace my roots at Potter's House, you actually got to go back to 2005. Most people don't know, but Steve Lawrence, who led the music department at Potter's House,
some musicians named Steve, man.
It's a thing, ain't it?
And Justin.
Yeah,
I know a lot. There's just certain musicians. There's certain people that have certain names.
Thank you, Mom. Music. I appreciate it.
Justin's, Steve's, Michael's.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so many people named Michael to do music.
Absolutely.
I mean, John Mike.
There you go. You got both of them.
Yeah, I got both of them.
So Steve Lawrence, who led the Potter's House in the heyday, and for many years, the Grammy Award winner Steve Lawrence, Steve is from DC. And it's different worlds, but DC and Baltimore are only 45 minutes apart. So I've known, of Steve and had relationship with Steve, way back when. So it actually happened. It might have been 2008. Steve and at the time, Jamar Jones, I think, was here.
Jamar
at Potter's House.
Yes.
He was from Philly. That's the only thing I miss about the East Coast. Between, you can get from Virginia to New York in just a few hours. Yeah. And we had a community. We all definitely had our separate regional thing. but there was a
No.
community amongst
No, the
that
DMV is a
95
thing, yeah.
corridor that just it's something crazy. So it was during, I want to say it was 2008. I got a call to do. Nope. Tell the story right, Justin. In 2005, I think it was the first time I talked to Steve, and it was through Marvin Thompson, believe it or not, who was actually playing at CRL at the same time too. And it was an opportunity to come to Potter's House in 2005.
Wow.
To be, a musician there.
Okay.
And, that's how far back this goes. But in 2008.
So 20 years. Literally.
Yeah. Myself, Adam, we went to Bishop's Mega Fest or conference, whatever it was, in South Africa. So that was my, one of the first times I was engaged with kind of working for Potter's House.
Okay.
But then you go back to think, the songs that Potter's House has recorded over the years. Manifest, for instance.
Yeah.
We played on the original.
Yeah.
So that's the Kevin Bond connection, Steve Lawrence connection. So over the years, I just always have been like, somehow connected. And, in 2015, actually, I had talked to Jamar after attending the leadership conference in Orlando, or I want to say it was.
Wow.
I was
at
there.
that conference.
Yeah. I was there with Anthony Brown. That is the year we recorded. Dang, we didn't even get to the Anthony Brown story.
Let's circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back. But this is the year in which we recorded and sang for the first time The Worth.
Wow.
So many may know that Bishop Jakes
GospelProducers.com.
preaches what's called the Joint Revival, which is a service that happens every January, first weekend in January, and it's hosted by the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, which I served at, and the Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church, Pastor Susie and Lord have mercy, my names are leaving me right now, but Apostle Owens.
Yeah.
So we actually had served that year in January. Anthony was the guest. That was the first night at Jericho City of Praise in Landover, Maryland. That was the first time we did Worth live.
Wow.
Had yet to be recorded.
And recorded it, just sung it.
And John Mike, I don't even say this because I've been a part of it. The response that night, and it's remarkable because pretty much every time he sings it since then, it's the same response. It was insane, the response to that song. And ironically enough, looking back, as I'm now on staff at Potter's House, that night Bishop Jakes laid hands on many of us from the group. And he laid hands on Anthony and I together because we were standing next to one another. And he said, you're going to be able to do things that you never could before. And that was January. That was the first weekend in January. We recorded the Everyday Jesus record January 31st of that year. The rest is history. Worth and 36 weeks at #1 and all of that stuff.
That was the song, bro.
I wound up at that point. I was actually working at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, and having talked to Jamar after that conference in April, there were some needs that Potter's House had, and we started talking, and I actually applied for one of the positions and hit a little bump in the road. And weren't able to really make it happen. And there's a gentleman named Dr. Oscar Williams.
I've heard of him.
Who I had met through, Hampton and Baptist convention stuff, and had interaction with. And he became the director of worship and arts, and subsequently
he replaced Jamar when Jamar moved out.
exactly right. So there was a need that he had, and we just kind of wound up circling back.
Wow.
And at the time, I was literally interviewing for the music director position at our Fort Worth campus. And some transition happening, and I wound up, when Dr. Oscar kind of was rebuilding his team, talked with Terry and Sim, who wound up coming on staff at the same time, and I accepted the music director position at the powerhouse of Dallas. And ironically, although I had done this stuff with them for years, the first day I went to report to work was the first time I had ever been in the church.
Wow. So I know that was really surreal.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And, again, it's the kind of moment you step into like, okay, Lord.
Wow.
I didn't play in some churches, but this one got 8,000 seats. I don't know about this.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But again, if they believe I'm good enough to be here, I gotta believe it.
That's so good. I love that thing, and I pull from that because like there's so many situations I've been in life where like it's just you walk in and you just like do or die.
Yeah. And
you just have to make it work. So I think there's something to that to that mentality of having that and keeping that space, because I had a preacher that told me years ago. I was going to do an event and it was going to be a lot of people there and stuff like that. And it was the first time I was doing that. For sake of brevity, I won't tell the full story.
Okay.
But I was walking into this thing and I remember texting them and I was like, man, kind of nervous about to be up in front of these people. The first time I've ever done anything like this. And he just said, act like you've been there before. Very simple.
Very much so.
Very simple. Just like, act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. And it ended up being like that. And I ended up being a catalyst that led into several other things, opportunities after that, that you just don't know. But like, I think there's something to that mindset. So I love that you've been in those positions where it's just like, well, I've never done this, but here goes.
Man, and I think, you mentioned earlier just the Baptist to, AME to the Pentecostal.
Yeah.
I think all of it goes together to make the musician that I am.
Absolutely.
And now more than ever, I'm like extremely grateful for it, because Potter's House is probably the place that pulled on all of my little skill sets at the same time, which was very demanding, but it was also very fulfilling as well, because, it's not everybody that can in one service, play an anthem and then, play a old school, churchy gospel song, close with a CCM song. But because of my experience of, growing up playing Richard Smallwood, traveling with Donald, and then flipping and going to do Israel Houghton and Newbury, it's like all of those things now, they come naturally to me. So I think Potter's House is something I know God destined for me. Wow. My wife and I, when we got married, we talked, almost instantly about, do we want to pick up and start, this savage thing, in another city, start our own story. And we both kind of agreed we were open to it. Yeah. I think my wife was probably more open to the prospect of it eventually. But when we explored Charlotte, we explored Nashville, even considered LA.
Wow.
There was an opportunity, briefly at West Angeles, with my heroes, what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So, we explored all those, and Dallas just made the most sense.
Yeah.
And, the opportunity with Dr. Williams and Oscar at the Potter's House just seemed to align perfectly with the timing we were looking at. And in October of 2016,
wow. So you've been there.
Here.
So you've almost been there a decade now.
Almost been a decade.
So of 10 years, we'll just round it up.
Sure.
Of being a part of the Potter's House. What are the biggest, and being in that seat and sitting there as MD, music director, and I think you're in a different position now. Was it the
co-executive director of arts and music is what they call them.
Yeah.
On paper only. Nobody walks around saying that.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah.
Yeah. But being in those, serving in that capacity for almost a decade, what are the biggest takeaways? What are the biggest lessons learned? The biggest things that you've kind of progressed through in that, being a part of that regime?
So I would say Potter's House has a pedigree. It has a legacy. It has a reputation.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a pressurized environment, but the goal is always to be excellent. So I think that has been a large part of what my takeaway is.
Yeah.
Being required to just always do it excellently. Yeah. So again, like I said, all of those experiences, inform my skill set and inform my outlook. Definitely. I would say though, there's no place like the there's no church like the Potter's House. Yeah. I've done church on many levels and with many different, reformations and iterations. But Potter's House is different. But being able to, glean weekly and listen to Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes Sr. preach every week is probably one of the biggest honors of my life.
Wow.
And not just him. It's like, I'm in the company, being at Potter's House just exposed you to a whole lot. There's an amazing leader and teacher by the name of Dr. Cynthia James. She's one of the most prolific teachers of the Bible that you could ever encounter. And I got to listen to her every Wednesday.
Wow.
For 5, 6, 7 years.
Wow.
So, it definitely caused me to grow up more.
Yeah.
I'd had, leadership roles, but it definitely required a lot more. There's a lot more, especially now in the seat that I sit now, there's just a lot more leadership required.
That's awesome.
The product and what you see on Sundays is literally, I don't say this, flippantly, but that's the easy part.
It's the Monday through Saturday.
Yeah, bro. It's the Monday through Saturday
with people.
And the preparation and leading God's people. God bless them.
Yeah. It's always, I told somebody years ago, when you're working in the church, you're running a music department. It's 10% playing, and it's 90% dealing with people.
There you go.
If you can deal with the 90, the 10 is gonna be really good.
Absolutely. And again, the 10 is like the easy part.
Yeah.
The music we can do pretty effortlessly.
Yeah.
But it's been a great chapter of my life, and I'm just optimistic about what the future holds with our new pastors. Is bringing in a fresh wave.
Yeah, that was going to be my next space. Is like, what is that transition like?
Let me not hijack. You're in it. This is your podcast. So you take us where we should go.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, what's that transition like? That transitions, because now you're seeing now you're privileged to have been in and sit with Jakes for almost a decade.
Yep.
Under his tutelage and under that ministry.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing a changing of the guard.
Absolutely.
Into a fresh new space. So
quite literally.
How is that transition going in this space?
So we're only a few weeks into the official transition, but it's been refreshing.
Wow.
I think, and I'll say it this way, Bishop Jakes is a magnanimous person, and personality. The weight and the anointing that he carries is pretty much out of this world. It's not really been seen before, and will probably never be seen again. And for all that he's done at Potter's House, it's just been humongous.
Yeah.
What I see in Pastor Torrey and Pastor Sarah is really a recognition of the global impact that we are.
Yeah.
But I see them honing in very, very intently on our local impact in our inside the four walls community.
Culture,
And culture, definitely. So that's been refreshing to see. They've implemented a few things even in the last few weeks, like it's our Wednesday night Bible service. Or Bible study, which generally feels more like midweek service. Has kind of shifted into this, Pastor Torrey calls it Walking Out Wednesday. And the first Wednesday we did it, it was like incredible because he basically took the message from Sunday, which was amazing. And he came back Wednesday and we were able to, he was able to take questions about the message and fully unpack it. and stuff like that. It's just
Yeah.
innovative, just
That is.
little tweaks that just really make a world of difference.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it. Pastor Torrey is intentional about having a music impact again as well. It's been a pretty long time since Potter's House has released,
Yeah,
music.
it's been a minute.
So I'm excited about that prospect as well. But I'm really, this is a part of, like I said, I'm 42. I gave Potter's House pretty much all of my 30s.
Wow.
And so, even musically and ministry wise, I'm in a season of transition and really looking to see how this transition aligns with what God is doing in me.
Yeah.
So it's a good time. It's a good season.
Awesome, man. So to circle back to the
Let's
Anthony
circle
Brown
back.
thing and
Yes.
get into production part of it.
Sure.
How does that journey begin, and what's the road to multi-platinum look like?
Okay.
With Anthony Brown, because you guys have done some amazing records. Now, even before Worth, I remember when I heard that first Anthony Brown record. I can't remember the name of it at this point, right?
The Testimony?
Testimony.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that song, and you're hearing it on the radio. Like you got, it's sandwiched in between probably a Fred Hammond and then a John P. Key or whatever, too traditional, whatever. And it's like you hear this one song, you're just riding in your car or whatever. Then this joint comes on, you like, hey, yo, this is different. Like, wait a minute. Like, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then you get the Victory, you get to all of the different other types of joints that he's really doing it. So even before Worth, I was kind of clocking and checking with Anthony Brown in group therapy before, because I thought it was just innovative in the youthfulness and the energy that they brought to the industry. And you guys just make good music. You know what I'm saying? It's just good music. And it's like, I don't see you guys culture chasing, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like you're just making the music that y'all want to make. It's not like, and Todd and Travis and all of those guys and Tasha, they have their sound.
Absolutely.
And that's their sound. But you don't hear Anthony trying to chase that.
Yeah.
He's just trying to be Anthony.
Absolutely.
And I can respect that music being music and trying to stay, instead of trying to chase what that sound is, or chase what the industry is saying, this is what you have to sound like.
Absolutely.
This is what you have to cookie cutter into.
Absolutely.
You guys seem to be like, nah, we just gonna do our thing.
And I pray that never changes.
I love that about you.
Amen.
So what does that look like? How does that journey begin, and what's the road to platinum on that?
So it's important to note that Anthony and I are both from Baltimore. And ironically, I used to take piano lessons at the church his father pastors in Edgemere, Maryland.
Really?
Yes, that's how far
the root goes back.
Yeah, I used to play for a choir that rehearsed at his parents' church. He used to play for them as well. Our parents, know each other. Like it's that. But Anthony, after graduating after attending Morgan State University in Baltimore, which Jason and Jonathan and all these people went through. He moved to California. So, it's not a gap, but there are several years where he's, out. So while I'm doing all of this stuff, he's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So we had never worked together at all. And it just so happened, in the year 2008, I want to say it was, we hooked up, and he was forming his new group. Which is what you guys know as group therapy.
Group therapy.
If you look at the name, you'll notice there's a capital A and P.
Yep.
That's because Anthony's former group was named Answered Prayers. So this is a brand new group, that he's forming. And at the time,
I was wondering why they did. I just thought it was a play on capitalization.
So this is a brand new venture. He's rebranding and doing some stuff. And we started meeting weekly. And just talking about doing some stuff. And we worked, myself and who was my assistant at the time, a guy named Ray Bramble, his cousin Albert Hardy. And we used to sit around and meet every week and talk about stuff and how we were going to do this. We were trying to form a company. It was called the AJ Connection, but it never really materialized. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. That's a petty aside. But anyway, Anthony was recording. We started recording like in the summer of 2008. And I mean, we recorded so many songs. He's a generational. I don't want to get in any trouble for saying this, but he's a generational songwriter.
Wow.
He is to me on the songwriting level as the Richard Smallwoods, the Walter Hawkins, and the Andre Crouches that we know.
Very underrated.
Yeah, his pen is it's for real. So coming into that space, he just decided he wanted to do what he was gonna do, and we recorded from September 2008. The first single didn't come out until 2012.
Wow. And which that was the
Testimony. That was Testimony. I'm lying. There was one before called The Harvest Song, which featured Marette Brown Clark. Okay. I want to say that was Anthony's first single.
Testimony is the one I remember when he popped on the scene.
Yeah. So this resulted from, I had done, thank you, Lord, for bringing it back. I had done a recording with Uncle Stephen Ford, with Stephen Hurd.
Stephen Hurd.
All right.
I remember Stephen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is I don't even know which record it was, but it's one of his, earlier ones.
Yeah.
And I played mains on that with Jonathan DuBose, Mark Walker, Jeff Davis, all of that. So I had this relationship with Steve. So in one of them years, it might have been 2008, Steve asked me to produce his Times of Refreshing record.
Wow.
Okay. So it was during this time that Anthony and I hooked up, and I had Anthony, I wanted Anthony to come in and do the vocals.
Yeah.
Because Anthony back then, he was killing the game with Marette and with Tone and doing background vocals like crazy, right? For Celebration of Gospel, all that kind of stuff. So, we're now recording his stuff. And I can't even tell you the number of songs we recorded. But I'll tell you this. Testimony was one of the last.
Wow.
Testimony was not originally going to be on the first record. And he had this thought, and we created this little jam, which is completely and utterly out of my comfort zone.
Right.
I am a balladeer.
Yeah.
That's my, that's my thing. I do ballads. So to come up with something groovy and I'm a nerd. It's kind of outside of my comfort zone. But we made it work. That track featured Adam Johnson's on bass, Mike Reed is on drums, Phil Lassiter. I want to say that was Tyrone on guitar too, Tyrone Jackson. So that just, I like to say that Anthony and I are just two guys from Baltimore that God had big plans for. That first record, that's 2012, right? That's Testimony. That record includes Water, Deep Enough, which was another single, And it wasn't until, it was several years before we recorded the Everyday Jesus record, which was,
that's the one.
A humongous record. And, I'm going to tell you this. For what that record was and what that recording was, in November of 2014, it wasn't even a thing. He had no plan to do it at all. Like it wasn't even. Maybe it was burning in his heart.
Yeah,
but maybe it was in his mind. But it hadn't gotten out to any of us that worked together. It was early December maybe when he decided I want to record, and it was like 8 weeks later.
We
recorded that record, and that was a record that I know God graced me to do because up to that point,
Check this out. You can help support the channel. You can support what we do at Gospel Producers by simply picking up some of our merch, like our Juice hoodie. The hoodie season is upon us. We got the GP shirts. We got the GP hoodies. One of my favorites is the Humble Hustle shirt. Get you the Humble Hustle shirt or hoodie. You just type in Gospel Producers on Amazon. We're right there. And what I have on right here, it's our not famous but fruitful. I ain't famous, but I am fruitful shirt. The long sleeve again. We're getting to that long sleeve season, so you want to make sure that you grab that. I'll link down in the description if y'all want to support your boy. It's lunch money.
Arranging is something that I did.
Yeah.
Something that I felt good about, but it was always in the space of, the old school way. You get the songs, you show up the week of,
rehearse.
And you rehearse, you come up, you figure out the arrangements with the guys.
Yeah.
This was the first time, Everyday Jesus was the first record where I sat home and I arranged and scheduled every song from top to bottom.
Wow.
It was daunting to me, but for some reason it was invigorating. And it really was a season that kind of God used to prove myself to myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, just arranging that record because we had some stuff we wanted to do with some visuals and with strings, and we wanted to do live horns. And you can't do that stuff on a whim.
Yeah, you got to plan that.
So that pulled me into another level of kind of arranging, and it happened in a matter of weeks.
Wow,
it happened in a matter of weeks. So this is the first time where I'm doing like legit sketches, and I wish I had. Your drum plug-in.
Oh.
I wish I had pro drums at the time, but this wasn't that. This was the little Jones on the keyboard doing the keyboard drums. But yeah, that record, that recording was an experience. It was still 10 years later.
Yeah,
I think some of our best work.
Yeah, no, it translates.
And Worth took off in a way that gave the other amazing songs on that record life.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? Like, because it's hard with gospel, it takes a long time to
ramp. Yeah.
To get it on. And then once you finally do, people usually have moved on. But thank God this is still in the CD days. This is, before Spotify and Apple Music really took over. So it was the kind of thing where like, it was a lot of songs that did well from that record.
Wow.
And from that, that's 15 and 16, I decided to move here. We did the A Long Way From Sunday record kind of remotely, which was a little different because I'm here and he's there. I spent a lot of time flying back and forth, arranging that stuff. But Trusting You was on that record.
Yeah, I love that song.
He got with Warren Campbell and did the I Got That record.
Yep.
Dana Saray did a couple tracks on that record. And that it's just the formula. There's a name that I would like to mention just when it comes to like my production. There's a guy named Mark Williams.
Okay.
He's in Charlotte, North Carolina, believe it or not. Yeah.
You need to connect us.
He is a mixing engineer who mixed a lot of your favorite records that you don't even know.
Really?
The Donald Lawrence stuff that we've been talking about. The Kirk Carr stuff.
Interesting.
Even I want to say Mark mixed a lot of Kirk Franklin stuff too. He was Gospel Centric's go-to guy.
Okay.
He was Kevin Barnes, Cedric Thompson's go-to guy for a long time.
Got it.
And I'll say this, my little inbox that we talked about, my little trial and error. My first recording with Jonathan, Mark Williams mixed.
Wow.
And the template and formula that he uses is something that has helped me with every record I've done since.
Wow.
My organization of files, my cataloging of files, the way I record stuff, the way I separate stuff, even down to some of the miking and, recording vocals.
Oh, yeah.
All it goes back to Mark Williams. So I got to shout him out because he doesn't get enough credit.
You need to connect us. That sounds like somebody I need to connect, especially if he's in the city. That's crazy.
Absolutely. Mark, he's mixed a lot of records. He mixed on Anthony Brown's first record too, as well. He mixed Water. and several others. Yeah. So
good.
how do we get to platinum record?
This guy.
That's it. It's just like Worth, number one, is an amazing song.
Yeah.
And I'll say this parenthetically as well, like, I won't lie. Like, I've had, number one, everything that I've produced has been with an artist I have a relationship with, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on the roster, of the labels.
Yeah.
I'm not getting calls because of that. Everything I've produced has been because relationship with the artist. So that's number one. Number two, everything that I've had the opportunity to produce, like, I'll say it this way, I've never really had to produce a terrible song.
Yeah. Hey, that's the key to everything.
I've never had to produce a terribly written song.
Yeah.
With people like Jonathan Nelson,
Yeah.
Anthony Brown,
Yeah.
Later in life, the Miranda Curtises.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had to produce a terrible song. So I won't even take full credit. Like, Worth is an amazing song.
It was amazing writing. It starts with the writing.
It starts with the piano and group therapy singing Worth. I still believe it would have been a big song.
Yeah.
Because it's just amazing.
It's just a great song. Yeah.
God just allowed, me to just walk that song into where it should be.
Yeah.
Not overproducing it. You'll notice, my formula is very, very simple. My formula is very, very simple. And it has to do with my roots in Baltimore. Eric Scott fussing at us.
Wow.
And keeping us together. Like, it's just a very simple formula. Like, play the music.
Yeah.
Play it effectively and play it with integrity.
Wow.
So you'll notice, and this is not to talk about anybody who does otherwise.
Yeah.
But like, you're not gonna hear a bunch of movement in my songs. Not unnecessarily.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear what the song and the chord structure and the melody dictates.
That's so good.
Anything that's against it, sometimes it works.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it's just unnecessary. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, my formula is the first time, first chorus, first verse, whatever, it's going to be straight and narrow. Right? If it comes around again, it's going to be straight. It just might not be as narrow.
Okay.
But it's going to be right there.
Yeah.
Add a little sauce, add a little change, but you always want the words and the lyrics and the melody to shine.
Yeah.
So I always keep that out front. And I learned from Mark. Like, Mark I remember when I was kind of trying to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with the sound. I remember it might even have been Yosh, but like, I remember one of them saying to me, like, there's only two sides to a mix. It's like, how many tracks of stuff are you gonna put in here?
That sounds like Yosh.
Yeah, it probably was Yosh.
That sounds like Yosh.
Because Yosh mixed a lot of our records and stuff too. So it's like, I try not to put anything unnecessarily in the track.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll start with stuff that eventually just gets taken out.
Yeah.
Because it's just unnecessary.
That's good.
If I got an organ pad, and I probably don't need a synth pad.
Well, you need it.
It could benefit me. It make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
But when you get to that mix, go ahead.
No, I was good because in line with what you were saying, I was thinking about something that Cedric told me in one of our pods we did. He said that, like, back in the day, we had 24 tracks.
Yeah,
that's all we had.
Yeah,
and so we had to figure out how to work within that
Absolutely.
confine of the number of tracks that we had.
Yep.
He said now when we got to a certain level, we could bounce over to 24.
Sure.
We could 2-track it down and then keep building with another 24. Then you 2-track it, but you lose. You got to commit to that. So he said, now we got undo at 1,000 levels. You can literally. You can open up the session and undo all the way back to where it began. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, and he said that makes us like feeling like we have to just keep adding stuff. And then, Yash, like you said, he'll pop in and be like, man, these records, man, there's 200 tracks. And it's like, why? It's like, and then for them, it's just because we can, but it's like, that doesn't mean that you have to. And less is more. I mean, I know
always
this particular week that we're recording this podcast, there's controversy going on about Maverick City. So I'm not trying to jump into the Mav City controversy because it's going to be irrelevant by the time the pod comes out.
Amen.
But at the same time, their formula worked because it's good songs, good songwriting.
First thing, yes.
good songwriting, good songs, good songwriting, and the simplicity of the recording.
Absolutely.
It was just always like they were, and that allowed them to not only make impact, but it allowed them, because they kept the recording and writing process so simple.
Yeah.
They were able to churn out music.
Yeah, absolutely.
High level music that people wanted to sing at church and stuff. And so tying back into what you said, the simplicity of production is things that I think we need to get back to.
Absolutely.
And in gospel. I mean, now everything has to have a snarky puppy introduction, with a fusion jazz vamp, you know what I mean? And then a CCM pop vamp chorus, with a bridge that has a hymn in it, it's traditional. It's like
we going all around.
We trying to be so, and who we producing for. Yeah. And most of the time, a lot of musicians are producing for other musicians or producing for other producers to pat them on the back. But then the actual listener goes and I don't want to hear all of that. That's just too complicated. We can't sing it at church. Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to disparage anybody who takes a more complicated approach. I couldn't. I've always been very, quiet with my opinions. Yeah. For number one, I just think, you can't be humble and just
I agree.
critiquing everything under the sun. And I don't think it just serves anybody's interest well to just be overly critical.
Absolutely.
I definitely have my favorites.
Yeah.
And I definitely have those that ooh, I can't listen to that.
Yeah.
But this is just my formula. And if anyone is interested in what that is, and if you're not, hey, guess who's not bothered by that? Me.
Yeah.
But I'm a purist, number one.
I love it.
Coming from that classical background, I remember my teacher, Alan Good, because it was early on that I noticed I had this ear. So I have perfect pitch.
Yeah.
And I have an ear that is just kind of, something I can listen to it and I can play it. He hated that. Right? Because I'm learning classical music in which you got to play these notes.
Yeah, play the notes.
This ain't up for interpretation. This is it. So he hated it. But, that purist is kind of birthed from that kind of place. So, and then, even as you mentioned, Cedric, it's like the early records and the stuff that I grew up listening to had space.
Yes.
So I and I'm not saying nobody else has, but I bring that forward because that's all I knew to reference. All I had was how would Danny do this? How would Kevin do this? How would Cedric do this? How would Jason White do this? Right? Yeah. And you'll notice in my tracks, and I mean, as music has evolved, I've tried to keep up. My later stuff will definitely have more in it than my older stuff. But in Worth, there's a piano. Yeah. There's an organ. Yeah. There's a bass. There's a set of drums. Yeah. Right. The most tracked out instrument on that track is guitars. That's because there's acoustic and electric.
Wow.
There's a little bell, I think,
they
have it somewhere. Maybe a little synth at the end.
A little lead somewhere in there.
That's it.
Simplicity.
But whenever people hear, which we came up in at the choir room, at First Baptist Church of Glenarden, it just came out. It's like, that's what people hear. That's what they know. That's what they, it invokes the same response every single time. So that's just my formula. I
love it.
I keep it simple.
I love it. And I think that's the point I make, is that it's the thing that people can glean from this. If you're looking at, what you're doing, you're up and coming producer, even someone that's, been in the game a little while, to, and they're examining, well, why isn't my productions, or why doesn't it sound like this, or why am I not getting the traction that so-and-so is getting? And maybe you need to consider the formula that you're using. It's not, like you said, it's not being critical of this is what you hear. Right. It's not dumbing, because some people, they just, they process things at a complicated level.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't think of how to simplify it. They take something simple and say, well, how can we make this complicated?
Absolutely. Right.
This is too simple. I want it to be complicated. Yeah. And that's, some people, that's just the way that they think. But, there is a formula to how the human ear works.
Yes.
And how we hear and how we perceive things.
Absolutely.
Especially non-musicians.
Absolutely.
For musicians, we get enamored by like structures and chords and,
Sure.
and melody and structures, chord structures and clusters and
Yes.
all of these different things
Yeah.
and all of those things. We get enamored by that, but the average human, you know, ear is just like, you know, just give me a good song.
Yeah.
It needs to be melody.
Yeah.
I need to be able to sing it.
Absolutely.
I need to feel myself in the song.
Yeah.
And feel like I could take this, especially in gospel. I need to be able to take this back to my church, my praise team, my whatever. Yeah. And we need to be able to sing it on Sunday. And if it's too complicated, I'll listen to it because it sounds good. But we're not gonna. May not go a little bit further than that. And that's just kind of. I think that's a good takeaway,
sure,
so to speak, from what you're saying. It's like here's someone that has built a career over 20 plus years in this thing, and here's his formula. And if you look at what he's doing, it's very simplistic, you know, in how you're producing and how you're approaching things.
You know, some of, and I want to draw that line of distinction because it's not just. I'll say it this way. Some of the biggest songs are the simplest songs.
Absolutely.
Not to say that you're chasing the bigness of it.
Yeah.
But also some of the best songs, some of your favorite songs have the least amount of stuff in them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's just, I don't even use it as a, you know, boundary. It's just my reference because that's what I like.
Yeah.
You know, so it just naturally comes out of, you know, what I create.
So good.
And perhaps, just take another look at it.
Just dumb it down a little bit.
And I won't even call it dumb it down because, you know, sometimes it's just, the song just is what it is.
Yeah.
If it's this to this and then back to this, then that's what it is. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. And in some genres and in some styles, it's necessary. And that is not what I'm talking about. Wow. I'm saying let the song be the song. If the songwriter came to you and it's got, you know, changes galore and all of that, go for it.
Yeah.
But if they bring you something that's good, singable, and good, you know, it stands on its own, you know, 2 feet.
Let it be
don't give it 4 feet.
Wow.
Don't give it 4 feet. Just let it stand on the 2.
Don't make it an animal when it's a human.
Yeah. You know, I don't have, you know, I like to, you know, say this because I don't have like a huge volume of tracks or albums or feats or credits. All of them have been our relationship. And I like to think that all of them would represent my best work. That's what I try to keep as the standard. Like, again, I'm not going to have nearly as many credits and tracks as the other people. Because again, I didn't set out to do it like that. Yeah. This still isn't what I wake up every day saying, you know, I'm going to the studio today so I can, you know, create something. That's just not how I'm wired. You know, when the opportunity presents itself, I go forth. But, you know, I like to just, when people play this 10 years from now, will they still like it?
Wow.
That's what I like to think about.
That's good. That is so good, man. Man, well, we appreciate you, man, kind of hanging out. Just the story, the humility in which you walk in, and just being able to hear the journey all the way from Baptist to platinum, man, is just amazing to me. To hear how you've like walked that out, you know, in these series of fortunate events.
Amen.
That put you in the room with this person to hear that. And I think there's a lot that we can, here's the word of the day, extrapolate from your story, you know what I mean, and be able to bring it to our own. And I think that's, to me, story is like one of the most important things, you know what I mean? And that's why I want to highlight it with people. I always start with story because that's important. You know, we as humans are tuned to story.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like we seek it. Like when we're sitting down watching TV and you're trying to find something to watch, you know, you're not looking for something interesting. You're looking for a good story.
Absolutely.
What story in this show, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a movie, you're looking for a good story.
Absolutely.
And that's the only thing that's going to hold your attention.
Yeah.
And if you're just putting something on and then you go straight to your phone, it's not a good story.
Yes.
The greatest stories keep you engaged the entire way through. And I think you have that type of story kept me engaged all the way from because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking like, what's next? How did he get here? How did he get, wow. Each stage is like a wow. And that's what you want in story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The plot, the twist, all those things like that build it into it. And that's what's important and why I like to highlight that. And you have an amazing story. And I'm glad that you got the opportunity to share it here on the podcast, man.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I am humbled by the opportunity to share the story that I believe God wants me to share. And, you know, thank you to every artist, every producer, every pastor that's ever taken a chance on me. I know it is because God moved on your heart, and I don't take any opportunity lightly, even this one.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you for that opportunity to do that.
Yes, sir, man. Well, if they want to connect with you, whether it's on social or whether it's to get you to do some work or to get you to come perform, play, do whatever. I know you sing too. We didn't even get into all of the worshipers.
Part two.
You know, we didn't even get into all of that. But like, if they want to connect with you, how do they connect?
You can connect with me. I am JL Savvy on all platforms. JLSAVVY. To email me directly, just contact booking@justinsavage.com.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you again, man, for coming down, especially down here in good old Dallas.
Beautiful.
Texas, man. We appreciate it, man. And we appreciate you guys for watching. We hope that you had got some value from this conversation. And feel free to check out any of the other podcasts and conversations that we have with all of our amazing guests that we've been allowed to bring on this pod. And until then, I want you guys to do the things that you always do on the videos. This is a video, so like it, share, subscribe, do all those things that you do on the video. I'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out. Holla at you, boy.